lots of great guests to cover. The first of which is a good friend of the show, Cormac Smith, who is a former advisor to the Ukrainian foreign minister. He's with us now. Cormac, a very good, it's just good afternoon to you. Thanks for being with me. Hope you are enjoying a good festive season, but of course, we are always conscious. This is now, I think, day 308 of the invasion of Ukraine. Unbelievable to think that it's gone on, but in a sense, tragic though it is, the fact it has gone on so long is a remarkable tribute to the Ukrainian determination. Where do you see this going, Cormac, in the new year? Do you see just a relentless continuing pounding? And then just interested in your thoughts on the sort of the renewal by the US of increased levels of donation and aid in terms of weapons to Ukraine in their battle.
Richard, hello to you. It's great to see you, and season's greetings to you and all the boys and girls there in Talk TV today. Right, a big question. How do I see things going forward? In company of esteemed people like General Ben Hodges, I really do believe that Ukraine could achieve victory in 2023, but there are a number of big ifs. And the big ifs are we must not only keep up the support that we as in the Western allies, Brits and the Americans in particular, but many other European countries, especially the Baltics. We must not only maintain the level of support, we must do more. And my fear is that we are still very, very slow in the critical weapon systems that the Ukrainians need, that they've been crying out for months, and they are modern tanks, they are long-range artillery, and they are fighter jets. The Americans have been training Ukrainians for 6 months now to fly F-16s. Where are the jets for them to fly? So that's a big proviso. And, General Ben Hodges, to name but one person, Wesley Clark, also the former High Commander of NATO, would say the same. My biggest fear, I guess, at the moment is there is a lot of concern within the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense and the General Staff about a possible massive Russian offensive early in the new year. Putin has conscripted 300,000, of which we believe 50,000 have already been sent to the front lines. So there is a considerable number more coming. So to deal with that, and the Ukrainians are certainly wary of this, they need every weapon system and help that we can give them. But my other big concern and my other big wish for the new year is that, we start to really bring Russia to account. Now, the Ukrainians have already proposed a peace summit to be held around the first anniversary of the war, and they would like that to be held at UN level. And they have asked that Antonio Guterres, the Secretary General of the UN, they think would be an excellent chair for that. And this is really important, because this is about whether Russia is invited or not, or whether they qualify to be invited. This is about holding Russia to account, and it's about the rules-based order, which I don't know about you, Richard, but I certainly grew up taking a rules-based order for granted. And that is really what's under threat.
Completely. And what pressure do you think is going on in Russia? We're hearing stories that, a number of senior figures mysteriously, unexpectedly, surprisingly dying. We've had a former a politician, a senior businessman, falling out of a window from his hotel in India just a couple of days after a friend of his. We've had a former commander-in-chief of the Russian ground forces dying suddenly, unexpectedly. Do you think this is a sort of purge by Putin of potential opponents in Russia? What do you think this is all about?
Richard, I don't like to speculate, because all my career I've liked to deal in hard facts and evidence and data. But we do know, and going back to 2018 in Salisbury is a is a very good example. We do know that Russia has, and Putin's regime have formed. This is how they deal with any form of dissent. And they've made it very, very clear that if there's any dissent or opposition from senior figures, they will follow them to the ends of the earth and assassinate them. We have seen this over and over again. So I can only assume, I don't have the evidence, I could only assume in a country the size of Russia, and with the huge damage which this war has already done to Russia and the Russian people, that there are going to be some dissenters. So, as I say, it's speculation, but I think it's a fairly good bet that that's what's happening, that there are people sticking their head above the parapet and they are paying the ultimate price for it. Putin must be under huge pressure at the moment because this war is going disastrously. According to the Ukrainian Ministry for Defense, he has lost nearly 105,000 killed. Multiply that by 2 or 3 more for the total injured. He can't cover this up. So we have seen indications that support for the war among the Russian population are starting to fall in the last credible survey which I saw. So he's under huge pressure.
How concerned equally would you be that actually in the West, as the war goes on ever longer and as ever more money gets spent on weapons for the Ukrainian military, that actually support in the West may wither somewhat, particularly in some of the European nations, less so, I think, in the States?
I'm hugely concerned about that, and I would be equally concerned with in the States because, Richard, as you and I know, we have significant cost of living crises, and I was asked in my last interview, you know, we're 3.7 million in the UK already. How much more? I would have to say as much as it takes. You know, this is a European country in 2022 with genocide being committed. I don't use that word lightly. There are legal definitions, 5 legal definitions, tests of genocide. And what Russia is doing in Ukraine meets all 5. So we have a moral obligation. And yes, if we have to pay more, we have to pay more because, Richard, at the end of the day, we pay in coin. The Ukrainians are paying in blood every single day.
There is no doubt about that, and one has to hope that the peace negotiations actually does bear fruit, because the Ukrainians are paying in, as you say, in blood, and everybody else is paying in coin. Cormac, thank you very much for your thoughts. I wish you a very happy New Year. We will no doubt speak in the new year. That was Cormac Smith, former advisor to the Ukrainian Foreign Ministry. It is extraordinary just what is going on, but the potential implications for